healthcare and emerging technologies. Hi, I'm Teresa, and I offer consulting services that help leaders navigate technological change and to help drive their teams to success. So, these services include change management, leadership coaching, and healthcare management consulting. Well, we can all agree that we live in a rapidly changing world where technology is constantly advancing and it's imperative for businesses to keep up, right? The adoption of new technology is not always an easy process, and for some companies, it can be a daunting task. However, with the right strategy and approach, companies can reap the benefits that new technologies bring and they can stay ahead of the competition. So, where does your organization fall in this adoption model? Well, let's talk about a model that you can use. The first step in the process of adopting new technology is awareness of the potential benefits and the impact it can have on your business operations. So, early adopters and trailblazers, those are the companies who often take a chance on new technologies, and they're the ones who pave the way for others to follow. And awareness of new technologies in the 1960s was primarily spread through word of mouth, news articles, and trade shows. So, for example, the first mainframe computer, the IBM System 360, well, it was introduced in '64, and it was the first computer that could be used in multiple businesses, and that really made it a game changer in the computing industry. Well, early adopters there were primarily large corporations and government institutions. And much like the beginning of the adoption of mass computing power, blockchain and Web3 awareness and early adoption is very similar. Now, news spreads through social media, conferences, and online forums. And like the previous tech adoption cycles, blockchain adoption in the financial sector started with early adopters like financial giants, JP Morgan Chase, who launched the Quorum, and that is a private blockchain network to for secure transactions. So they were showing how this works, right? Like they were the first ones to get out there. Now, the next step in adoption is as technology becomes more successful and it grows, you'll have more companies that start to take notice. So the potential or its use cases become clearer. And you've heard me talk about you need to have a good use case, right? So some companies are going to be hesitant and others are going to try it. They're going to try it out for themselves. And these companies will conduct pilot projects and case studies to test that technology in their controlled settings. And from there, they'll determine its effectiveness, its efficiency, and the reliability that this new tech has. And that's usually a methodology called a proof of concept. Well, let's go back in the way back machine again, right? The proof of concept for the first commercial-based flight simulators were developed in the 60s, and they were used by airlines to train pilots in a controlled setting, and it demonstrated their effectiveness and their efficiency at that time. Now, by the 80s, that became a standard of training practice in the world. So all pilots now train on these simulators. Well, it's the same. The proof of concept for blockchain and Web3 technologies is now being demonstrated through decentralized applications such as DeFi and NFTs, and they showcase capabilities of that decentralized system. And today we see the Ethereum blockchain used to launch thousands of decentralized applications that have the proven potential of blockchain technology. It's really very cool, right? Like we're seeing all these little projects come along. Now, something amazing generally happens, and many times when that amazing thing happens, we aren't even aware, right? The technology it proves to be valuable and its adoption grows rapidly, right? Like people are starting to get a return on investment. And then it becomes a standard part of your business operations. Well, the technology has gone from being a risk to being a necessity, and it transforms the way companies do business in a way that nobody could have imagined in the beginning. Think about banking, right? Your parents or your grandparents had to go into a bank, they took their money and they talked to a person, they had to have some sort of relationship. Well, here come automated teller machines, right? And then they could go get their own money and they didn't have to depend on being close to a bank somewhere. Now, think about what we do now. How many of us even use cash because all we do is online banking, right? With that acceptance comes the evolving of the technology, right? And we do things like uh, we have new things now that we're seeing in the acceptance of new technologies in blockchain and Web3, right? So right now, Those technologies are driven by their potential to improve like transparency, security, and privacy. Those are the three big use cases that we see. And it's happening in different industries. And I've talked about all the different interesting projects that are going on that are starting to move from proof of concept to actually happening. And those are in the industries of finance, supply chain, and data management. And the increasing adoption of blockchain-based transactions, it results in new ways to do business, right? So just recently, I think it was like last week, California announced that it was going to digitize their car title management system, and they were going to be using Tezos, and that's a private blockchain. So when we talk about blockchain technology and these new technologies, remember, it doesn't have to be open for everybody. You can do a proof of concept within your organization to prove out the efficiency and the effectiveness and ideas that your teams may have. So, in conclusion, the adoption of new technology, it's a multi-staged process and it starts with awareness, right? So, being aware of the stages of adoption from the first time you've heard of something to that proof of concept to total acceptance, everybody's bought in. That is when technology can go from a risk to a necessity and revolutionize the way that we do business. So I encourage you to increase your awareness of what's happening in Web3 and blockchain by subscribing to the Real Smart Crypto newsletter, where you get up-to-date information to help you monitor where your markets are and how your organization will engage in these technologies. It's there to make you think, to make you engage, and to hopefully help you become aware so that you know where you fit in with the technology adoption process. I'm so excited about this. So, all right, guys, I will see you here next week where we're going to be having another conversation around all things Web3, emerging technologies, healthcare, and leadership. All right, we'll see you then.